Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and highest continent on Earth, a vast wilderness of ice and rock, seemingly untouched by human affairs. Its sheer remoteness and extreme conditions have kept it isolated from the rest of the world, a place where only the hardiest life survives. Its landscapes are sculpted by fierce winds, and its shores guarded by colossal icebergs. The elements here are relentless, shaping a world that seems frozen in time, where nature's power is on full display. For centuries, it was a place of myth, where nature's scale dwarfed human ambition. Early explorers braved unimaginable hardships, driven by curiosity and the promise of discovery, but few could have imagined the battles that would one day unfold here. Yet beneath this pristine surface, a hidden war has raged for decades. The icy silence conceals a struggle that has shaped the fate of entire species. This was not a war for territory, but a struggle for the soul of the Southern Ocean. Here, the stakes were not measured in land, but in life itself. Whalers armed with harpoons and factory ships clashed with conservationists who risked everything to protect the whales. These confrontations were fierce, sometimes even violent, as both sides believed they were fighting for a just cause. The Southern Ocean, where three mighty oceans meet, is a wild expanse, home to furious storms and shifting sea ice. Its unpredictable nature made every encounter a test of endurance and resolve. It's also a sanctuary, drawing the planet's largest creatures to feed in its rich waters. Blue whales, humpbacks, and countless other species depend on these icy seas, making it one of the most vital ecosystems on Earth. This abundance first drew hunters, then protectors. As the world awakened to the importance of conservation, new generations arrived, determined to defend what remained. The conflict, far from public view, was marked by high-stakes chases and dangerous collisions. Each confrontation carried the risk of disaster in these unforgiving waters. The story of Antarctica's whale war is about defiance, the power of individuals to challenge nations, and the complex ways we govern the last great wilderness. It is a tale of courage, sacrifice, and the ongoing fight to protect our planet's most remote frontiers. Its echoes continue to shape the continent's future, reminding us that even in the world's most isolated places, our actions leave a lasting mark. The whale war's roots are soaked in blood. For over a century, the Southern Ocean was a slaughterhouse, not a sanctuary. The Industrial Revolution transformed whaling into a ruthlessly efficient industry, with steam-powered boats and explosive harpoons. Whale oil was in high demand, and entire populations were hunted to near extinction. Blue whales, the largest animals ever, were decimated, over 99% gone. The killing moved down the list: fin, sei, humpback, and more. By the mid-20th century, the silence of the seas was deafening. The International Whaling Commission, IWC, was formed in 1946, but for decades it failed to stop the decline. In 1982, the IWC finally voted for a global moratorium on commercial whaling, a monumental victory for conservation. The harpoons were supposed to fall silent, but loopholes remained. The war for the whales was far from over. The 1986 moratorium should have ended whaling, but a loophole, Article 8, allowed nations to issue permits for scientific research. Japan became the most prominent user, sending fleets to the Southern Ocean whale. The fight was about principles and ideals, the private one, about finding middle ground and making deals that would satisfy both sides, at least for a time. The ICJ ruling and Japan's withdrawal dramatically reshaped the conflict, effectively ending so-called scientific whaling in Antarctica and shifting the battleground elsewhere. Yet, despite these victories, the future of the whales remained uncertain, as new threats and shifting alliances continued to emerge. Political maneuvering and behind-the-scenes negotiations continued, shaping the fate of whales in ways the public rarely saw. The war for the whales had simply changed form, moving from the open ocean to the shadowy corridors of power. In 2024, tensions flared anew. Japan launched the Kange Maru, a state-of-the-art whaling mothership, signaling renewed commitment to whaling. Around the same time, Sea Shepherd founder Paul Watson was arrested in Greenland on an old Interpol notice from Japan. Watson faced extradition and possible prison for his anti-whaling campaigns. His arrest sparked global outcry, with prominent figures demanding his release. Supporters called him a political prisoner, punished for defending whales. Days later, the Kangai Maru harpooned an endangered fin whale, the first in decades. The battleground had shifted, but the threat to whales persisted. The war had entered a new personal phase. The harpoons may have fallen silent in Antarctica, but a new threat looms: industrial krill fishing. Krill, the foundation of the Antarctic food web, is now targeted for omega-3 supplements and aquaculture feed. Massive trawlers vacuum up krill in the same waters where whales feed, creating direct competition. Whales are also dying in fishing gear, despite so-called whale safe nets. Climate change compounds the crisis, shrinking sea ice and threatening krill populations. The body managing Antarctic resources, CCAMR, is paralyzed by geopolitics, blocking marine protected areas. The war for whales is quieter now, but just as deadly. The future of the Southern Ocean hangs in the balance. Antarctica's whale war is a saga of exploitation, defiance, and the complexity of our relationship with nature. Here, in the planet's most remote and pristine wilderness, the struggle between humanity and the wild is laid bare for all to see. For a time, the conflict was clear. Activists versus whalers, good versus evil. The lines were sharply drawn, and the world watched as passionate defenders of marine life risked everything to protect these giants of the deep. Whale wars brought the struggle to global attention and helped end the slaughter in the Southern Ocean. The show inspired a new generation of ocean advocates and made the plight of whales impossible to ignore. But the threats have evolved. Industrial fishing, pollution, and climate change now endanger whales. These dangers are less visible but far more insidious, creeping into every corner of the ocean. The fight is no longer against a single fleet, but a global system exploiting the oceans. The scale of the challenge has grown, demanding new strategies and a united global response. Paul Watson's arrest and Japan's new mothership mark the end of one era and the start of another. The movement must adapt, finding new ways to confront the ever-changing threats facing whales. The battle for whales is a battle for the soul of Antarctica and the health of our planet. It is a test of our values, our resolve, and our willingness to protect what cannot protect itself. It forces us to ask, what is our responsibility to other intelligent life? How do we coexist with creatures whose fate is so closely linked to our own? Can we balance human needs with ecosystem preservation? Can we find harmony between progress and protection, between our desires and the needs of the natural world? The fate of Antarctica's whales is tied to our own. Their story is a mirror, reflecting the choices we make and the future we are shaping for all life on Earth. Their survival depends on our willingness to choose stewardship over conflict. The next chapter is ours to write. Will we rise to the challenge? Sanctuary under the guise of research. They claimed lethal sampling was necessary, but critics argued non-lethal methods sufficed. The IWC's own scientific committee condemned Japan's program as providing little value. Whale meat from these hunts was sold commercially, blurring the line between science and industry. This practice created a deep rift within the IWC, with anti-whaling nations passing non-binding resolutions. Japan, backed by allies, defended its actions, leading to a political stalemate. While diplomats debated, the Japanese fleet continued its annual hunt. The scientific research loophole allowed hundreds of whales to be killed each year in supposed sanctuaries. The conflict was far from resolved. As diplomacy stalled, a new force emerged, the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, led by Captain Paul Watson. Frustrated by government inaction, Sea Shepherd embraced direct action, seeing themselves as ocean law enforcers. In the 2000s, they launched bold campaigns to disrupt the Japanese whaling fleet in the Southern Ocean. Their tactics were aggressive, blocking slipways, throwing stink bombs, and pursuing whalers through treacherous waters. The drama was broadcast worldwide on Whale Wars, turning the conflict into a global spectacle. Sea Shepherd gained fame and support, while Japan labeled them eco-terrorists. Each side accused the other of lawlessness and endangerment. For Sea Shepherd, their actions were justified. They were upholding the law where governments failed. The stakes were high, and both sides were prepared to risk everything. The annual confrontations grew more intense, with both sides escalating their tactics. Japanese security vessels used water cannons and sonic weapons. Activists deployed propeller-fouling ropes and high-speed boats. In 2010, the conflict peaked when the Japanese vessel Shonan Maru 2 collided with Sea Shepherd's AD Gill, sinking it. Each side blamed the other, and dramatic footage fueled a global debate. These clashes highlighted the extreme risks, thousands of miles from rescue in deadly seas. The Southern Ocean became a lawless frontier, with both groups convinced of their righteousness. The cycle of conflict seemed endless. While fierce battles raged at sea, another, quieter war was unfolding in courtrooms and diplomatic backrooms across the world. Here, the fate of whales was debated not with harpoons, but with legal arguments and secret negotiations. In 2010, Australia took a bold step, challenging Japan's whaling program at the International Court of Justice. They argued that Japan's so-called scientific research was actually commercial whaling in disguise, violating international agreements meant to protect whales. 4 years later, in 2014, the court delivered a historic verdict. It ruled against Japan, ordering an immediate end to its Antarctic hunt, a landmark victory for conservationists and a moment of hope for whale populations. Japan cancelled its hunt for a season, but soon returned with a scaled-down program, determined to continue whaling under new guidelines. In 2018, frustrated by mounting international criticism and diplomatic pressure, Japan withdrew from the International Whaling Commission. This ended its Antarctic whaling, but Japan quickly resumed commercial hunts in its own territorial waters. Meanwhile, leaked documents revealed secret negotiations behind closed doors, proposals to trade reduced Antarctic catches for expanded coastal whaling rights, exposing the complex web of compromise and ambition. The public